So with that, you guys got me today. I am the presenter today, not just an organizer. So we are going to present on Wander Inn. It is a brand new retail incubator store in Old Town Fairfax. So I am Tess Rollins, and I am the executive director of the Old Town Fairfax Business Association. I'm also the chief creative cultivator for Simply Enhance, which is a graphic design and brand strategy consulting firm. And so I got to work with two hats on this particular project with the city. So our challenge question for our business is, how can we encourage foot traffic and in-person shopping in the current retail landscape? As you know, everybody wants to buy online, and there's not that much foot traffic, and that's one of the things we're trying to encourage. So that is our challenge question. Next slide. So a little bit about Wander Inn. So Wander Inn is a curated retail incubator store. We feature makers and entrepreneurs and varieties of products and arts. So we actually it was a program, it was an idea first where we would have prime retail space. There was vacant space in Old Town Fairfax, and the Fairfax City Economic Development, they actually negotiated with the property manager of the vacant space for us to have a lower rent, so that we could provide, so that we can come up with a way to invest with small businesses in the city of Fairfax. So this is a partnership between the Old Town Fairfax Business Association and the Fairfax City Economic Development. And our storefront is in Old Town Plaza, which if you're familiar with that, it would be the area near Bollywood Bistro and Onry Beer Company. So it's in that area. Next slide. So when was it founded? We started the project. We talked about the project originally earlier in 2023. We didn't actually get started on the project until September 1st. We quickly put this together, this retail incubator store, and had a soft opening in December of 2023. So just a few weeks ago, actually. We had a soft launch and did about $500 in sales that first day. And then we had a grand opening about 8 days later, and we did $4,100 in sales for that day. And then we're officially going to have a ribbon cutting on February 9th. So you're all welcome to come if you'd like. We are in Old Town Fairfax, like I said, in an area called Old Town Plaza. So it's a diagonal, if you're familiar with Old Town Fairfax at all, which is near University and Main Street. There is a park there called Old Town Square. We're about diagonal from there. Old Town Plaza is diagonal from there. So there is free city garage parking adjacent to where we are located. Next slide. So one of the things that we solve is that we provide, again, a prime retail location. Old Town Plaza is is the newest kind of retail or office space in Old Town Fairfax. And there was some vacancies there. The suite that we used to have was a Sylvan Learning Center, and prior to that was an all eyes optometrist. So we were able to, again, fill the city vacancies with several businesses. Similar to a pop-up, however, we've kind of changed the scope of work a little bit. It is more of an incubator, a retail incubator space, meaning we have also partnered with a small business development center, so that we require, per the agreement that the vendors and the business owners sign, is that they have to have a one-on-one with the SBDC to either create or revise their business plan. And they also have to attend at least 2 of their online webinar courses that the SBDC curates for us. So we have a lot of partnerships in the area. And what we want to do is, a lot of the makers who are there do outdoor festivals or shows, showcases, markets, and now it's cold. Now it's snowing. So the other problem that we kind of solve is what do they do during the what we call the dead months, when there are no outdoor activities. So we also wanted to provide a space so that they still could continue to sell and not have that lull in sales, to kind of continue to showcase them. Next slide. So basically these are the different options for Wander Inn to generate revenue. So the vendors, which would be like a candle maker or somebody that's doing home decor goods, they pay $200 a month plus 10% of sold goods. The artists, they are, as we know, artists, it is more difficult for them. So the artists are used to a consignment. So we go ahead and do a consignment agreement for them, and 40% of that goes to Wander Inn. And then we've also added a pop-up vendor, and that is basically one to introduce possibly a new startup or a new product that a company may have or a business owner may have. And that is set up a little bit differently. They pay a flat $150 for the weekend. That's for Saturday and Sunday. They are required to be at the store with their goods on Saturday and Sunday because we are not able to, we just don't have the time to get their items into our point of sale system and get barcode stickers on them. So they are true pop-up. They would come in, they would come in on a Friday with their goods. So the manager, the management team would be able to see how much space they would need. And then early Saturday morning, they would set up, and they would also have to have their own way of collecting money. So it is a true pop-up where they would just come in for a couple of days. That can also entice the business owner, if they do well, to become a permanent, to apply to become a permanent vendor. The other thing that we are doing is that will have classes or special events. Those are priced by the maker or the artist who is teaching, and then we assess a $10 fee per person, and that goes to Wander Inn to kind of help offset the cost of having staff there and manning the store during that special event. Next slide. So what do we offer? It's basically a high-end gift shop. And as you can see, the products will range anywhere from apparel, home goods, any shelf-sustaining food items, such as we do have Chunker's Bakery from Herndon. In there, we have All Day Health Bar, and that came from the Mason Enterprise Center. That's where I met Ted and Adam, and they have actually presented here at 1 Million Cups a couple of times. And our other food, we're going to have a chocolatier coming in, and potentially homemade peanut butter from Reston will be coming in. So those are the types of self-sustaining things that don't necessarily have to be refrigerated. And then our ideal client is, we were looking for gift givers, or even individuals who are seeking accessories for home and office. But definitely gift givers are a big thing. We will soon be actually carrying items that are branded for Fairfax City. So there'll also be a little some customized Fairfax City souvenirs as well, because that's one of the things that the city also does not have, is like a souvenir type of thing when we do have visitors for our different festivals. We're unique because we have not just a retail shop, but it was important to me to have some kind of draw. As you know, just because you open up a store or a restaurant or any kind of brick and mortar, that doesn't mean that everybody's just going to show up, right? So maybe at the very beginning, it's going to do really well because people are interested, but how do you continue to get people to show up? And so for us, that means having special events, whether it's classes from the makers or the artists. It also gives those makers an opportunity, or artists an opportunity, not only to teach and make a little bit of extra money that way, but it also gives them a little bit more exposure. What we found just from the soft opening in the last few weeks and the grand opening is that if we have the makers and artists there during some of our events, then and they're being showcased, their sales are much better because people get to know them and get to know their story. So we'll be doing things like that, like meet the maker and meet the artist as well. So those special events are really going to, and those classes are going to really be the draw to come in and to have an experience, not just to come in and shop. So what differentiates us is that we have a collection of small businesses. They go through an application process, and because we want to make sure that one, they can restock if things sell out, even if they have some one of a kind pieces that, you know, once things sell, we want to make sure that they can restock. We want to make sure that the quality is good. We've got to make sure that they're as committed to us as we are to them, because we will be doing the marketing for showcasing these artisans and makers, and hopefully, you know, with their business education, that they get a chance to scale and grow, and possibly, you know, we would love to graduate some of them into their own spaces, and fill some vacancies within the city. So it is unique as far as having a hybrid kind of situation that kind of covers all the bases, not just give them a retail place to sell, but even just kind of growing them and giving them different ideas of how they can enhance their businesses. Next slide. So our target audience for buyers, it would be like gift givers. For companies to partner with us, we are getting ready to talk to Nova Labs, because they have a lot of makers there, and they have an incubation program that they're trying to launch. We're also working and in talks with George Mason University, because they're only about 1.25 miles away from the store. So we've been in talks with some of the business there, as well as the business school, as well as what they call the depot, which they had some students that were selling some goods previously at Dolce Vita in Fairfax. So we are trying to talk to them to see if they want to do that. And then also we're talking to the person that's in charge of licensing at George Mason, so that hopefully we can get some Mason swag in there and have like a little spirit store or spirit wear apparel there, because again, we're 1.25 miles away from the university, and there's no place in Old Town right now where people can buy Mason gear. So we want the students to also, you know, feel welcomed when they come in and have experiences, and not just come in and shop, but have a place that if they want to get something that has Mason on it, that they could do that. So we're working on a few different things as far as organizations. Our marketing channels are primarily social media, also with our community partners, obviously the Old Town Fairfax Business Association as the operator, the Economic Development Office, the SBDC, and then the MEC. We are all on their membership lists, and when they're sending out communications, they're including things when we have special events, or we have ribbon cuttings, or if we're going to have a special promotion. So we'll be doing that as well. But right now it's primarily it's primarily with this, and we'll have some media contacts as well. They will be coming at the ribbon cutting, and then we have something going on with actually Herndon Community Television. Their crew will be coming in, and they'll be showcasing not just the store. They will do an episode for the store, and then they'll start showcasing some of the businesses, and then we'll be able to get that raw footage for the businesses to be able to use on their network channels and social media and websites. So that again gives them a way to learn how to reuse and repurpose content, and to also, you know, grow. They're one of the requirements is that they also have to be able to share in 1 or 2 places to help grow, whatever platform that is. So that also brings and highlights the store as well. So our competition, that's a little bit tricky. Obviously, during the warmer months, our competition would be craft shows and festivals and farmers markets and any places where they have pop-ups, like over at Mosaic, even at Tyson's they have pop-ups. The difference with us is that we're able to provide something indoor so that nobody has to worry about whether or not the weather is good, and we can go all year long. And so that's one of the things. As far as small boutiques, there are a few of those. So we have a lot of makers who have one of the kind products, which they're not available. We also have a lot of makers who will make custom work, which is also different. We do have makers who just have specific products and they just mass produce them. So we have a good eclectic mix of that, and I think that that's unique. That's a little bit different from other small boutiques. Now, when it comes to indoor types of things, the Dulles Expo Center is actually one of our competitors because they do have some of these larger festivals or larger shows that they have indoor, where they have multiple, they've got a craft show there, they've got a scrapbooking thing there, they've got multiple vendors but they come all over from the region, and some of them out of state. We wanted to really focus on what we had here in Northern Virginia and Fairfax City, bringing Fairfax County, Loudoun County. Some in Maryland have applied, but for us, it's expensive, even just for a weekend, just to do something over at the Dulles Expo Center. So for us, we have a nominal fee, and we hope to continue to grow, and we'll see how it goes.
Is it okay to ask a question quickly?
We're almost there, but yes, if you hang tight. So okay. Again, our challenge question is, how can we encourage foot traffic and in-person shopping in the current retail landscape? And from that, I will turn it over to our moderator. Scott, are you able to moderate by chance?
All right, so we are now open for questions to Tess. So either use the hand raise icon that you have and just make sure that you are, as always, asking a question. And then you're also free to provide some feedback and insight as well. So I'm going to start with Soma.
Yeah, hi. I just had a question. I got this picture in my mind about the setting for Wonder Inn, and I was just wondering whether there are any small mom and pop, business owners that are allowed to offer like tea and coffee and pastries and things like that are not big names, or are there some complications to having an outlet like that at your venue?
So at our venue currently, what we can entertain that as a pop-up, but not permanently, because we don't have a food distribution license, from the health department. It is something that we're looking into, but as of right now, what we deal with is just self-sustaining, mostly because there's a lot of product in there as well that we would hate for somebody to accidentally spill things on. We do have like some silks and some higher end products in there as well. So currently it would just be during a special event or one of our pop-up vendors that would be set up away from the rest of the displays so that things won't get disturbed.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. I think our next is John Foster, followed by Reggie Holmes.
Great. Well, I got to tell you, I'm a huge Tess fan. Tess, it looks awesome. A question I had, as far as space-wise, how much, I looked at the video on Facebook and I couldn't tell how much space do you have as far as expanding, and you'd mentioned classes as well. I'm just curious as far as the space available for classes and kind of from an expansion standpoint as well.
So we definitely can expand. The actual space is 1973 square feet. I only know that because the engineers were just there. So the spaces, the suite is actually broken up into thirds. So the front third is primarily the storefront. However, we have this long hallway also that we have just added additional art railings to be able to display more art, as far as like flats, paintings and that kind, and watercolors and that kind of thing on the walls. And then the second third is the classroom area. So again, it was a Sylvan Learning prior to, so there was a lot of things in there that were already built. So there's some counter space in there. We could actually, if things expanded and we needed more room, we actually could take part of that area to kind of extend, because we've already started, like I said, to start putting artwork in there. And there are two empty rooms in that classroom section. We would like to at least keep one of them for extended classroom, like a private class, if somebody wanted to close a door. And then the last third is basically employees only. That is actually where the Old Town Fairfax Business Association, our new offices, and storage for excess things in the store. So we do have potential to expand into other spaces, but the front end, we're still in that front part of the store. We still do have some actual space. We have some vendors who we've asked to place additional items because they're popular. Place some additional items as we continue to vet through and have other vendors move in. For example, we just vetted 7 or 8 vendors this week. They have yet to move in, and we have probably the same amount who have already been approved who have yet to move in. So we're still kind of curating and filling that space. And as they move in, the vendors who we've asked to fill some of these other nooks and crannies of the store, we're just going to pare down and maybe have, if they had 2 or 3 of the same, let's say blankets or pillows or whatever the case, whatever their product is, we may just have like one of each to showcase and have the rest of it in stock, and then just, restock. So we have a lot of play in that space.
Fantastic. Randy.
Thanks, Tess. Great presentation. I look forward to coming to the space. I have like a bunch of ideas. Hopefully I can fire them off pretty quickly. I was wondering, well, let me ask a question first. So what are you doing for people that come in like after they come in, let's say they come in and just browse, or they come in and they buy, like what sort of post-transaction marketing takes place or connection takes place? And then I just have a couple of ideas for getting more foot traffic.
As far as post connection, that's one of the things that we haven't done yet. Most of the ones that have come in are already on our email list from our website, because that's basically, they either found us through there or found us through social media. So they've already added themselves to the website. The ones that have not, that come in maybe with friends or just come in passing through because they're in Old Town, the only thing that we've probably given every single one of them is a business card with a QR code to and ask them to subscribe. Or so that's probably the most. And then one of the things, because we are a little bit unique, even though we have one point of sale for all of our vendors, we do have kind of like a sales final sales policy, where if there is an issue or you need a refund or exchange, you deal directly with the vendor at that point. And that's just because of the partnership with the Fairfax Economic Development Center. We just didn't want a lot of, back and forth and trying to negotiate. Our managers don't know the products that well. And because each person has an agreement. So we do also offer not just our information, but the information like business cards of the makers for the products which they purchased.
Okay. So just a couple quick ideas. Definitely taking advantage of the different affinity months for groups of people, such as Black History Month, Women's History Month. Finding a way to feature artisans and makers, you know, from those different backgrounds. Also like, so George Mason, the art department, like most art students have to do a some kind of final show. And so your space would be a great space to have to showcase some of that student artwork for those graduating seniors and things like that. Also, there could be like a passport that's developed for if you purchase from like 5 different vendors or something like that, you know, you get a stamp, you get a card punch. So maybe there's some type of special offering that you unlock from, you know, visiting a certain amount of makers at the store. And then I was thinking about like the hashtag or something like I wandered in or something like that, like a giving people like a tote bag or like a, you know, they shop, they get a special tote bag or like a patch or a sticker, something that they could display that you know, highlights the store. You know, so when they come in, they get that, and then they can put that on their computer or on their jacket or on their car windshield or whatever. And so people that don't know about it can be like, oh, wander in, I wonder what that is, or you know. So so that's kind of a couple of ideas, just a way to connect them and then connect others by them seeing that and wanting to know more about the brand. So
Perfect. Thank you, Reggie. I love the passport idea. That's great. We do have some stickers that have been ordered, so you know, maybe that's one way we can utilize them. They're actually supposed to arrive tomorrow. So maybe that is one way where we can do that and continue with the marketing on that end and provide that. So thank you, Reggie.
Thank you, Reggie. And next up, we have John Norse, followed by Ken Portnoy.
Hey, Tess, is this concept anywhere else in effect?
There are, so when I went to the IDA conference in Chicago, what I found out around the country, it's either one or the other, meaning it's either a pop-up store for or a pop-up venue at a festival. So it's either one of those, or it's a true incubator where maybe somebody from maybe a city or like us, a merchant association, some kind of organization provides a grant to either 1 or 2 businesses to fill a space together.
Right.
So basically they give you a grant and here's a space that they may or may not have negotiated, and you're off and you get to do, you know, obviously there's things when you go through a grant, but there isn't a hybrid situation like this, and there definitely isn't the educational.
So there's no data out there on any types of success or how these models would work. So
not this particular model, because we did a kind of a
I think your model creates a couple interesting things in that you're for the community, bringing in local entrepreneurs. You have 8 coming in, another 8 being vetted. At what point, what happens is you run out of, I'm just curious, you run out of space. Then how do you determine that my new products should come in there if my sales could be better than someone who's not selling anything? Like, how do you determine like who gets priority, like shelf space? I don't know. I don't know. And then, you know, you mentioned competitors. I mean, a permanent competitor is Etsy. I mean, any kind of things that are curated with the convenience of going online and shopping. Now, returns and things get a little bit more complex, but you know, I just think that you know, curated things is what Etsy has been built on.
Mm-hmm. So to answer your question on space and vetting, so what we've done is there are short and long term. So the minimum is 3 months, and that's because we want to make sure that, well, 1, that they have time to do the requirements with the SBDC, and 2, we want to make sure that we can assist with the marketing, kind of assess and kind of, you know, give them tips and kind of help them out. The management team has already had a couple of meetings. We actually identified some of who are our higher, you know, sales and who are our lower sales and or those that might not have sold any yet. Some of them have to do with when they moved in as well. And that turnaround, there's a plus and a minus. That turnaround is like where the management team is always constantly, engaging with these vendors. It's a good thing also, but it also makes the products in the store fresh, which keep the community coming back in to see what's new. So there's a plus and a minus. We kind of take all the positives out of it. And then when we identify who just by looking at weekly sale reports, we identify the ones that are, I don't want to say struggling, but we have some people that aren't great at promoting themselves. So those are the ones that we showcase more in our output, whether it's, lives or reels or whatever the case may be. But those are the ones that we showcase there. And we also talk to them to say, hey, why don't you come into the store? We'll have a special sale or whatever the case may be. Or we'll have an event, we'll have a make and take that day. And we'll say, oh, well, we're having a make and take. You can come in and, we'll have something in the back in one of the classrooms to give a draw. And while you're there, we're also going to feature blah, blah, blah. And there might be one or two of the vendors or artists, because I think the hardest part are artists, but they also are kind of sort of used to that as well. They're like, okay, they just want a place to show their art so that they can send somebody somewhere. So that's we've had some success with our artists that haven't sold things in the past, and they're selling things because they're right there in Old Town. So as far as Etsy goes, some of our makers are also on Etsy, but they would like to figure out how to be showcased in person and meet people in person. So we've kind of given that flexibility where the makers could come in and meet the public.
Excellent question, John Norths and Ken Portnoy.
This is a hugely impressive program, Tess. I think that coupling it with the SBDC training is awesome. And to get the makers and the artists to really consider the business aspects of what they're trying to accomplish is awesome. It sounds to me, your challenge question is, how do I generate foot traffic? And it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on getting the participants in the space to do their own marketing to generate traffic. And then there's the overlay on top of the stuff that you're doing where you're trying to market through all these organizations. I'm curious if there's any intent or ability to support other kinds of marketing. For example, I took a look on Google Streets as to how the facility is laid out. It didn't look like there was any real street visibility. So it would seem like something that advertises at the street, if that's according to the ordinances available in the city, would help to draw people who are on the street into the facility. I don't know whether that's something that I just missed and already exists, or whether it's something that you might want to consider to create more foot traffic in the store from the foot traffic in the neighborhood.
So you are correct. We are, because we're in the plaza, we're not on this, we're not on the street corners of the plaza. We are actually in the plaza near a fountain. So we're right between the sidewalk, the street sidewalk on North Street, and the parking garage, the city parking garage. Now, we have a benefit of being in that location because we're also located between two establishments that have lunch and dinner traffic. And then, so we've got Bollywood Bistro, the Wine House, and Mackenzie's. And then Onry, there's a lot of food places right around. So that's where a lot of organic walking around has kind of found us. We are working on signage. We have to work with a property manager on that since we're, 3 weeks open. So they are working on, trying to get that signage type of things. But we are also collaborating with our neighbors. That's a big thing for us. one of the things that we're going to have is when our chocolatier comes in, we're going to have a tasting either at the wine house or Mackenzie's with the chocolates and the alcohol type of thing. But we'll have them next door. We'll have a collaboration where they will go to the establishments next door, and then they won't be encouraged to come to meet the chocolatier at Wander Inn, who actually makes them. And then Brooks Bridal is also in the plaza, and they actually just expanded to a second suite called Brooks Bridal and Beyond. So we're kind of cushioned between that as well. And we're in talks with the management and the owners there to also curate special gifts, or, you know, for bridal parties, or for, you know, the mom of the bride, that kind of thing. So we are trying to utilize who we have in that area. And over on Main Street, which is a street parallel to where we are located, one of the things we're doing is we'll be working with the retail shops that are on Main Street. There's only a few of them, but curating like a shopping day, kind of like how the Old Town Fairfax Business Association and the Economic Development does like a pub crawl or a restaurant crawl. We want to do like a shopping kind of day, like unified, so that everybody's having specials, or everybody, you know, we're kind of going to map things around, and we'll include all of the retail shops within walking distance. So we do have a few different things that we are planning, and especially during these cold months. Currently, there is a light installation in Old Town Fairfax, so we're kind of trying to incorporate that as well. And then Cameron's Coffee has a brand new cocoa cart, so they'll be bringing that over to the plaza as well, since and that kind of answers Soma's question as far as, you know, having coffee and chocolates and that kind of snack kind of thing. They'll be doing that. So we are doing some neighborhood collaborations, which and utilizing who we have, you know, right near us.
Great neighborhood collaborations. Excellent choices. Abba Williams, and then Reggie Holmes.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and hi, Tess. Thanks so much for a wonderful presentation on Wander Inn. As a business owner who makes products, I really appreciate the opportunity that Wander Inn presents, because my business is totally online, and I'm not in a position to afford a storefront. So the opportunity that Wander Inn provides, it's really I think it's a great opportunity. And I make products that are scented, some are unscented, and usually online, it's difficult to assess the fragrance online. If you're able to see it in real life, it helps you to make a choice whether you want to purchase it or not. So I think that for someone like me, it's an opportunity that I'd like to take advantage of. In talking about encouraging foot traffic, I was wondering if it's possible to have some specials, you know, to discuss with the vendors, to have some specials that are available only in store. Because I know places like, what's it called? Joann's and Michael's, you know, sometimes they have deals that you can only get online, but they also have other deals that are only available in store. So maybe that's a way to also encourage foot traffic in advertising, to have some specials that some really juicy specials that are only available if you come into the shop. So that's the suggestion I have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Abba. That's a great suggestion. I think that's awesome, and that is something that you know, we can ask the vendors. I think that's wonderful. We are doing. We did sit down during our management meeting this week, and we are having, like Reggie mentioned earlier, is leveraging, you know, showcasing them for different themed months. So we do have a lot of minority owned businesses also that are in there. So like for Black History Month, we will showcase them, and for Women's History Month, we'll showcase our female entrepreneurs and our female artists, that kind of thing. So, you know, having the meet the maker and meet the artist, just having that out there, it's a way for them to tell their story to the community and connect. So, you know, we're excited about those type of free events to the public.
Great. So I'm gonna have Reggie and then Soma, and then we're gonna wrap with announcements.
Yep, I just wanted to say I'm connected with this organization called INCA. It's the Inventors Network of the Capital Area. So they're always doing meetings for inventors and people that are creating things. So if you're not, familiar with that organization, I can make an introduction, as I'm sure there are people that would be interested in doing something in this space.
Perfect. That's great, Reggie. And oh, by the way, I do have a connection with the Mason art department. Professor Bobby does and curate some stuff. So I will make sure to reach out. One of his associates is a advisory board member for OTFBA. So that was a good reminder to reach out to him. Thank you. And Soma?
Soma, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just got kicked off for a few minutes there, so I missed some of the discussion. Thank you, Comcast, again. So just wanted to let you know in case I'm, asking something that was answered. I don't think I asked my question really well last time, so I'm going to have another go at it. I was asking about a set, a booth or something in there, a little corner or a setting to introduce, because there's a real dearth of familiarity with like teas, specialty teas and things. We used to have like a Tivana, and that went out of business, but there's not very many varieties or choices apart from herbal concoctions and things like that sort of make the field a bit larger. So my question was really, what are the, are there any big bureaucratic hurdles to doing a pop-up or a little booth where you familiarize people with different kinds of specialty teas or coffees, and you can let them sample it? Is there some kind of food, police that you have to, overcome to be able to do that?
So we do have a pop-up option for a weekend, and for it, that is, so anything that would come for that, like for samples, the vendor that comes in would need to have something from the health department, and that goes through them. But most of them that do that are familiar with the process, because they would do like an outdoor event, like a farmer's market or a festival, a city festival. And if they are not, we do have the connections in partnership with the city to help them get through that process. So yes, we can do a pop-up. At the moment, no, we don't do anything permanent.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, somewhat. Would you be able to share that info with me about the contacts at the health department? Because the primary goal is not to, serve the tea as a food commodity, but to sell different specialty teas. So as just a sampling kind of situation of how it's supposed to be taken, it would be good. We
could definitely share that information. One of the things that the OTFBA does is we also manage a local market space during our monthly Rock the Block that the Parks and Rec host. And we have a coffee roaster who is there, and he does samplings of tea. So that's, and we just have to make sure that he has his proper, papers to do that from the health department. So yeah, so we can definitely share that with you, and who you would need to go to in the city of Fairfax.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Perfect. Well, thank you, everybody. Let's wrap up with announcements. Next slide.
Well, but first we need to do the final question.
Oh, yes, you have to do the final question.
Yeah, because it's the final question. You've had an opportunity to hear this question before. I assume you've given it some thought. What can we do for you today as a community? How can we help you, the people in the room and the community together? I don't know is a good answer, and we'll move on.
No, for me, I think if you would share the opportunity, not just as a shopping experience, but I would like to invite everybody to come to the ribbon cutting on February 9th. and invite your friends so that they can come and, experience a really cool thing and see how the city welcomes businesses into the neighborhood. So February 9th, 3:00, it's a Friday. Get off of work early.
Cool. All right, I think I can get back to the screen here. There we go.
So
We are currently looking for next week's presenter. If you are a business owner who is facing a challenge, you see how the assembled brain trust here has a lot of different perspectives and approaches. We would be pleased to be able to help you address the challenge that you're facing. Reach out to us. There is a link on 1 Million Cups. If you go to 1 Million Cups Fairfax, you can sign up to be a presenter from their website. Tess mentioned this earlier. As Jen Dalton, an organizer, says, many hands make light work. This is a two-way street. If you were to become an organizer with 1 Million Cups, you get the opportunity to develop your leadership, collaboration, marketing, and coaching skills through the work that we do with presenters and with 1 Million Cups. You can also gain visibility for your business, which is always good for business owners. And unless you're averse, we're fun. Right, Tess?
we're a lot of fun, of course.
We're a lot of fun and friendly. So it's a small commitment to work with 1 Million Cups as an organizer for a large return. If you'd like to consider being an organizer, type me into the chat and we will reach back to you. Tess, you're the upcoming events maven.
Sure. So we have a ton of upcoming events. And as you can see, you can scan the QR code that is on your screen, and that will take you to the Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce. These events are listed on that page, as well as other events that are just pop-up events that are not recurring. So we encourage you to go to the Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce website and go to the events page. We also, as you can see, we've got a pop-up shop that's in the Woodbridge area. That is Veterans Growing America. And they are Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And those are all veteran shop owners or veteran spouses. So please, if you're down in the Woodbridge area, go down and support them. And then, of course, we've got the new Wander Inn retail space in Old Town Fairfax.
This is our presenter schedule for upcoming. We have lots of opportunities for business owners to participate with us in the upcoming weeks, and we look forward. If you stumble across a business owner in your travels over the next couple of weeks, tell them about us. Tell them about what we do and how we help them. And if you go out to our YouTube channel, we have testimonials of business owners that we have helped and how they appreciated the opportunity to get the feedback and stimulating questions that we provide here at 1 Million Cups. Help us spread the good word. If you follow us on social media, you'll get all of our notifications, but getting our notifications is really just the first step. The second step is to spread our notifications around by sharing them with your own network, by commenting on our notifications, to help us to be viral in our participation in social media. If you would like to sign up in an easy way, use the QR code. It will get you to all of the different social platforms that we participate on where you can hook up with us. And we're going to shut down the recording so that you can feel free to speak your mind without whatever you say being recorded forever on the internet. And we can network a little bit here while we're together. So I'm going to stop the recording